well, from one feature to another, what did you think about the Nicki and Lil Baby song?
I didn't. What did you
Man,
think? I didn't think much.
I was disappointed, man,
Right.
because Nicki had been pumping this song up all week, and you know how artists do. They get on their social medias, they do a whole bunch of, I don't want to say press. Press now is actually somebody getting on the Instagram live, right? Like she was doing some lives, talking to people she normally doesn't talk to. I thought she was actually going to drop a full effort, and yeah, dropped this song, and I don't know, man. It really didn't do much for me. Again,
Let's
I
bring
think.
it full circle if we can, Mike.
Go ahead.
Lil Kim was at this stage in her career. She also reached out to the person who was the hottest rapper in the game at the time. And you know what they made, Mike? They made Magic Stick.
Oh, is that? I don't think that's the stage that she's at.
No, I'm trying to get it so that you understand what I'm
No,
keep
man.
saying
Kim
about
wasn't.
these. No,
No.
no, 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 no. Why?
Nikki's
Hold
past
on, hold on,
that
hold
stage
on.
you're talking
Mike,
about.
Mike. She's on a track with Lil Baby because Lil Baby is where it's at right now. The same way Kim was on that track with 50 once upon a time because 50 was where it's at. Now, what I'm
Speaking of
trying to
which, go
now what
ahead.
I'm trying to express to you is that what did the artist do with the moment?
Speaking of which, in Nikki's time out here doing her press, she alluded to the fact that she would
Kim
do a
didn't pump
versus.
a magic stick; it
She
just pumped out.
she said she would do a versus, and she said it was two people she could do a versus with, or something like that. Listen,
Mm-mm,
this is the thing, Nikki.
mm-mm,
It's either Kim or nothing.
mm-mm.
It's either Kim or nothing.
Mike,
It's either
that
Kim or nothing.
Mike, the Kim Nicki versus is gonna go the way the Nas fans scored the Nas Jay Z versus. It's gonna be like 17-3, but real life.
We need a Nicki Minaj and Lil Kim versus.
No, we don't, Mike. That's what I keep trying to say. No, we don't. No, we don't.
Listen, look, I think that Nicki is very confident in herself and the run that she's had. I think that Nicki believes that she is the greatest female MC of all time. Do you not think that?
Mike, she doesn't eat Mike. Her hits and the guest appearances. Mike, what does she have for the verse on "I Can Love You"? That's a scene stealer. That's what I'm saying. Kim seizes these moments like it's nobody's business, like no other rap female ever has. Like in the big hip hop moments, she seizes it. Oh, like I'm on a track with Mobb Deep. It's the Quiet Storm remix. I need to get on my gully shit. Right. Oh, I'm on a track with Puff and the Locks, and Big is coming after me. No, I'm on my rhyming shit. Like she seizes the moment. Dipping on your Ninja Honda with Tanisha and Rhonda. What?
Okay,
Like
so
seizes it,
you
Mike.
think that in a versus,
She do not want that smoke with Kim.
you think
Like
if Nicki lined
her,
up with Kim
like
in a versus,
like
that she's gonna lose?
Kim's next best is Nicki's best. Like how many licks can take Nicki shit off the board? How many licks isn't gonna be in Kim's top 10? Maybe even 15, Mike. What are they gonna do when Get Money drop?
Listen,
When
I want
Freaking
to.
Anthem drop, when No Time
I
drop, when
understand what
Queen
you're
Bitch
saying.
drop, like when Ladies Night drop, when Quiet Storm Remix drop, where is the evidence that it's even gonna be a competition? You
Mr.
have no
H
evidence.
says Nicki would give Kim a L.
Nick, name 10 records. Name 10. I can buy. I can.
There's a
I'm pretty sure I
generation
can
that
pick.
feels different.
I can pick 50. I can pick 15 Kim records and let you pick 20 Nicki records, and I'm still gonna win.
There
That's
is
how
a
I feel.
Coop. There's a
I ain't trying
generation
to
that
be
feels different.
disrespectful. No, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Music, no, music is music as it stands up over time. Music is music as it stands up over time.
Okay.
So what Stevie Wonder did in the 70s is comparable to what Prince and Michael Jackson did into the 80s because the music says so. That's why we compare them.
TD
Okay?
says Nicki will wash Kim. Did you see Kim
With
perform at Summer Jam?
what? With what? With what
I'm just telling you what
record?
the people are saying.
Mike, when All About the Benjamins drop, what does she have? When Quiet Storm drop, when No Time drops, when I Can Love You Better. Mike, I'm just naming a few records like off the top of my head. Mike, Players Anthem, Get Money and Get Money remix. I Need You Tonight. These are all better than shit Nicki's ever done.
I'm,
All of them.
I'm just sitting here sipping.
Oh.
I see Big Mama thing in the chat. I think that's
Mama
great too.
thing, Queen Bitch, Drugs, Mike, Crush on You.
Crush on You is a big one.
You don't want this smoke, Mike. No matter what people say, the jump off. Put your lighters up, Mike. She
Put Your
don't want
Lighters Up is big.
Mike. She don't want this smoke, Mike. Magic. She don't want that smoke. Stop that. All of y'all saying Nicki.
I want
Don't
to see it.
I don't
Again,
know why.
just like this Jay and Nas thing, I want to see it because everyone feels that it's just such a foregone conclusion.
Jay
We
Nas is
have
viable.
to.
This is not viable, Mike. I'm trying to tell you, it's not viable.
I
Nicki don't
agree
have
with you.
20 songs. Like Nicki don't have 20 songs, and I'm telling you this because about like if Kim plays 20 songs, about 10 to 12 of those songs are moments that are important. You're not gonna win. You're not. You're
I
not
agree
gonna
with
win.
you. I agree with you.
You gonna win when Get Money drops? You gonna win when Players Anthem drop? No, you're not. Are you winning when No Time drops? No. Are you winning when Drugs or Queen Bitch or Crush on You drops? No. Quiet Storm remix? No. I Can Love You Better? No. Where's she gonna win at, Mike? When is she gonna get a win? That's what I'm saying. She's not gonna win until something like How Many Licks Get Played. We're gonna be on track 15.
I'm telling you, that's the only one I want to see. I don't want to see Nicki versus anybody else. If she does a
I don't-
versus,
I don't
because
see
Kim
it.
already put it out there about a year or so ago that she would do a versus with Nicki.
No.
So if Nicki says that she'll do this, let's make it happen. But you
She
know
don't
what?
even
I
have-
want to see Eminem in one first because everybody keep talking that shit. We need to see these things happen. We need because on paper, whatever. I want to see it. Because I kept reading these comments like, Eminem's gonna wash Busta Rhymes, this and that, or this is what we were gonna talk about too. You said that T.I. said that he wanted to do a versus with Eminem, and people were saying, "Oh no, T.I., I don't know about that. Don't
I'm
know
sorry,
about what."
I'm sorry, Mike. It was hard to hear you right now. I was rapping the lyrics to No Time in my mind, and I was thinking, what the hell is anybody talking about thinking Nicki wants some part of Kim? But anyway, on to the T.I. Eminem thing. Fascinating.
Midget Mike said, thanks for the super chat, by the way. He said, Kim can't play songs Big wrote. Who wins? And whatever.
Okay, let's have a quick history lesson. Once again, there are some references, and people seem to think that Big wrote hardcore. He's the executive producer of hardcore, the same way Puff is the executive producer of Ready to Die. So did he have influence? Yes. Did he help? Yes. You understand Nicki sat in the studio with Drake and Lil Wayne. You think she ain't had no help? Think she ain't had no help?
I don't. I think Nicki wrote her stuff. But let's go on to this T.I. and Eminem thing.
Mike, if she did step in there with them all these years and she didn't have any help, that's why her ass about to lose 15-5.
I tell you what, in my personal opinion, this might be controversial, but no, listen to me. In my personal opinion, I think it's more viable to think that Nicki wrote some of Drake's rhymes other than the other way around.
Mike, and what I'm
Who
saying
has
is,
a proven ghostwriter? Who has a proven questionable pen? Not her. We've heard
give you that,
reference
Mike.
tracks.
Let's say this again. Players Anthem, Get Money. I Need You Tonight. No Time.
I like how you switched the subject. I was talking about who's more likely to have a ghostwriter between Nicki and Drake.
No. I'm not. I don't even want to have ghostwriter conversation because Mike. Because here's the thing about that conversation. The other guy tell Hov don't pass the crown so soon unless he got a crown for every writer in the room.
Exactly.
There's too many spirits on these ghost-written tunes, so you can't crown an heir till you seance the room. Now, if we live in a culture where the women usually have ghostwriters more than the men, and we already have smoke about the two men next to her having ghostwriters, and y'all are looking at me like she wrote it. I want you to understand what y'all are doing and what y'all are saying. In a culture where the women usually have the ghostwriters for the men, these men have had ghostwriters and we know it. And y'all don't think she had no ghostwriters, but she was part of the same exact team the entirety of the time. All the ghostwriting smoke about them was going on.
Well,
what are y'all doing?
Who wrote her stuff? We know it was Gilly.
Doing?
No, we know it was Gilly for Wayne, and we know it was what's his name for Drake.
The whole writing team for all the artists. So writing team for all the artists, not just the male artists. When is there a writing team for the male artist when the biggest earner in the room is a female?
Is she? Was she the biggest earner?
Oh yeah, Mike, she's the biggest earner.
No, Drake and Wayne were really big. I don't know about that. I think that's why Drake's been able to keep his hits going because he has had some help. Because
Let me tell you something, Mike, about how this world works. Women like Nicki are bigger earners. End of the story.
okay, I see where you're going. What I was
Right.
gonna say, I spoke to
Right.
somebody who is in that camp over there with Quentin Miller and all of them, and I asked like, why did Drake even enlist the help of Quentin Miller for "If You're Reading This Is Too Late" if he is a writer? And nobody had an answer. Like, I guess he was trying something. I don't know. Like, anyway.
Well, it goes all about it goes back to your credibility, Mike, because here's the thing about it. It's like you've bought it multiple times. It's like Kanye wrote Lucifer pretty much and served it up to Jay. But we're very, very clear that he had nothing to do with Reasonable Doubt or Volume 1. So we know who Jay is, right? Part of that is because we don't know who Drake is as an MC. As he hasn't been so all-time great as an MC that we're willing to look at something like that and be like, we can't do that because he hasn't been dope enough like that to do that as an MC. We never bring up the Lucifer thing with Jay because he made Reasonable Doubt. Because we heard what he was rapping on Volume 1, and we're like, man, this guy's an all-time great MC, even if Kanye did give him that hook and give him the lead into that song.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'll just be fucking around
Right.
when it comes to that.
No,
LB
But no,
216. Yeah, we know who. Listen, this is Jay's abilities when it comes to quote unquote ghostwriting and stealing and all that. Jay has this super brain where he's able to memorize shit so quick. He could probably hear you rap your own shit and memorize your shit before you do.
Right.
That's his gift. And
Right.
he could go back and regurgitate something, take your style, and you don't even know it. I think it's amazing, actually. You know what? When you think of it in those terms.
When you look back at it, I'm going to tell you a really funny thing, and this is like head nerd talk. When you're hearing him on Face Off, on Volume 1, where he's like, this goes out to my Brooklyn crew, put your guns up in the air if you feel it. He's mumbling it, Mike, because he doesn't have it all down all the way yet. He had just heard it because of the Life After Death sessions. But you can hear him mumbling it like he don't all got it all the way yet. That's his brain. He didn't write it down when he took it from Big. He kept it in his head. You can hear it on Face Off. This goes out because he's getting the melody right before he puts this goes out to my Brooklyn crew. Put your guns up, and he's mumbling it to himself to get the timing and the cadence right of it because in his mind he memorized it.
Yeah, he's got a remarkable mind when it comes to this rap shit. What was I gonna say? I just lost my train of thought, but it was a really, really, really good one. Yeah, I mean it's this is what I was gonna say because someone said that Drake has all kind of help. This is my thing when it comes to that. I really don't care if Drake had ghostwriters because I don't view him as a lyricist on those terms. You know what I mean? Like if I heard that somebody, and you've heard those rumors where they say, what's his name, wrote on Supreme Clientele or something like that. Like if I hear that somebody wrote one for Ghostface or All That I Got Is You for Ghostface or Dear Mama for Pac or New York State of Mind for Nas, I want to know who that is. And I would feel different about that. But just based on the records that Drake makes, I don't really care if he has a ghostwriter or not. You know what I mean? Doesn't change anything for me because I don't view him as a top lyricist anyway. If Kendrick Lamar had a ghostwriter and somebody wrote To Pimp a Butterfly for him, yes, I would have a problem with that.
You want to know why he was able to go get a ghostwriter, Mike? Because Drake makes the types of tracks because of the formula that he puts together that other people can put together in reference.
Yeah.
And so when I hear stuff like, oh, well, this guy that said he ghostwrite did such and such for Supreme Clientele, it's like, oh, yeah, where's your album? Because there aren't too many albums like Supreme Clientele that have ever been made. And if you're of that type of capability, we would have at least heard a project from you that deserved the type of buzz that is a third of what Supreme Clientele is.
And that's my problem when it comes to people saying that Safari wrote for Nicki. Like, have you heard Safari rap? Like, don't do her like that.
I have, but stop that.
Yeah.
On both accounts.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to pull somebody out, let it be somebody that, we can hear like, okay, well, I guess. And see, we've gotten it twisted where giving people ideas is considered ghostwriting or whatever. No, we're talking about actually writing your verse bar for bar, getting reference tracks like we heard from the Drake reference tracks. It is what it is. And again, for me, it didn't change anything because I never really looked at Drake in a lyricism manner in the same way I look at somebody like a Kendrick or a Cole of their generation, or even an ASAP Rocky. You know what I mean? But I guess for people who felt like he was an MC like that, it changes things. I don't know.
So, but I just want to get this
Or
straight.
Pusha T. If somebody else wrote Daytona, I would have a problem with that. You know what I mean?
We don't have to worry about that, Mike. There's never
Of
been
course not.
right, but that's what I'm trying to say is that when you're taking the stand about Nicki and talking about how she spits, when the two gentlemen that she has been attached to for the entirety of their career, the main knock on them and their caliber of MCing is ghostwriters. Anybody thinking that that doesn't apply to her when she's in the room the entirety of the time that all those things are going on with them is being foolish.
So are
She's
you
right
calling her on that?
there.
Let's keep it real, Coop. Are you calling her on that because she's a female MC and female MCs have traditionally had ghostwriters and people think that's okay? Because the other guys, we had to actually dig up and find the reference tracks for that to even be a thing. I think that there's a thing in hip hop where we just assume that women ain't writing their own shit.
No, but here's what I will tell you, Mike, and this is something that I have actually stood up about on this show in reference to female MCs and having men write for them about the what's the appropriate phrase to use? The misogyny in this culture, the second tier status of women in this culture, the degradation of women in this culture. Yes, second class citizenship. I have spoken to that enumerated times in terms of the rationale for why some of these reasons why these women have had ghostwriters, as in that's how the game gets played. What I'm saying to you is that this case that I'm speaking of does not necessarily apply to Nicki, but let's apply some common sense and say that if the two guys you're connected to are connected to ghostwriters in this culture, in a culture where the ghostwriter is usually for the woman, you telling me there ain't no ghostwriting smoke around her too? Because I call
Not.
bullshit.
I
Because there's
say
been
I
way less
say
smoke,
innocent
way
until
less
proven
smoke and way
guilty.
more fire. There's been way less smoke and way more fire. You're literally in the room with other dudes with ghostwriters, and ain't nobody ever wrote no other shit for you. Nah.
I
So
say
it's really more
innocent.
about her being tied to the
I
guys
say
that have
innocent
ghostwriters.
until proven guilty. And if we found some Quentin Miller reference tracks, you better believe we would have found some Nicki reference tracks. Let's keep it real.
Mike, where there's smoke, there's fire, even if it's
It's
real.
not smoke around her, it's smoke around them.
Who has she been around her whole career?
They have individual careers, Coop. You act like they a group.
No. When the
They're
smoke's
so
going on,
separate.
no. When the smoke's going on, she's around. That's what I'm trying to express to you. When the smoke going on, she around. She ain't no. She
I don't think
around.
she had writers. And again, if I'm
I don't have a
proving
problem with her having writers, Mike. But what I'm saying is that this is actually one of Mike. This might be the only instance where the female might have had a writer because the guys had writers, and that's how the process was working in the team. I'm not saying she can't. I'm saying she's getting it down with a team where this is okay.
okay,
Don't tell me that she didn't convalesce
and
to
it's
that.
about hit records. But again, I'm not gonna put that on her until we find something. We found something on the other guys. I'm not gonna sit here and say because we're in the same locker room and the guys who bat third and fourth got found positive for steroids. I didn't get found positive for steroids, but just because I'm in the dugout with them and I bat second, then I'm taking steroids too.
So let me get this straight. You're okay with all these people jumping in here talking about how Biggie helped with hardcore, but you want to isolate Nicki from guys who are great artists who have had ghostwriters? Because that's what you're doing when you
I
say
heard reference tracks when it comes to Kim. I did. I heard
Mike,
Nicki
hold
reference
on,
track.
Mike. Mike, what reference tracks did you hear?
I heard Queen Bitch.
Right.
Yeah.
Uno.
It's a reference track. If I heard one Nicki reference track, I would be like, okay, well.
Mike, so there's one ghostwriter for those guys, but there's none for her.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Yeah.
can't assume that if we haven't found that. Okay, let's go to this T.I. Eminem thing.
Mike. If I pull up to the gas station with three guys who want to rob the store, and I don't want to rob the store, Mike, but I know that they about to rob the store, and they hop back in the same car with me, and I'm riding with them all the same. I'm part of the crime. I'm part of the crew. She part of the crime. She part of the crew.
You act like they work
separate
together
her.
like that. They
Try
do
to
not
figure out-
work together in concert like that. They're
Mike,
individual acts who are signed under an imprint. You
Mike,
act like they a team or something.
Mike, for about 2 years at least, Mike, they all worked together as a team, putting stuff out before they branched off. So what I'm trying to speak to is that there's obviously a way that machine works, and what you're trying to tell me in the way that machine works, that the guys got the ghostwriter and the girl didn't get the ghostwriter, which literally has never happened in the history of this genre in terms of how this machine works.
Well, look at how this whole thing comes together. I mean, Wayne's ghostwriting um, allegations, if you will, that happened well before the Young Money stuff. And Drake, I mean, listen, in my personal opinion, Degrassi, just looking at his whole background, he was planned to be here. He was going to be pushed to success for whatever reason. He probably had writers from the beginning. Nicki's kind of an outlier here.
You know, you're making my point, right? That's what I'm saying. She stepped into a situation where.
So you're saying they forced writers on her?
Mike, you're missing what I'm saying. It's part of the machine. You're speaking to how it works. You're like, well, Wayne had writers back then, and then Drake had writers back then, but you're saying, oh, they skipped over that process for Nicki.
Oh, hold the phone. We got a super chat from DeCarlo. Shout out to DeCarlo. He says, this is what he said. He said, Mike, I have to admit defeat today. Eminem will lose in most versus battles. I was doing my own mock verses, and he lost every time. I appreciate your honesty, sir. And that will take us to the next segment.
Look at DeCarlo seeing the light. Welcome to the light, brother. It's light over here.
Hey, man. It's tough, man. Sometimes we got to do a little bit of reprogramming. We've been taught certain things for so long, over and over, and it's tough to actually get to the realization of the truth. T.I. said that he would take on Eminem in the verses. I don't think it would happen, but if it did happen, Eminem gets smoked. DeCarlo, could you share who you actually did mock verses with when in regards to Eminem and who he was losing to?
DeCarlo, I'd like to thank you for finally being delivered. It's the land of milk and honey over here when you get delivered. It is. It's the land of milk and honey when you get delivered, brother.
I really want to see Eminem do this versus. But you know what? I think this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing just put a damper on that. He's probably not going to do it now. He doesn't have to.
Well, he already got everything that everybody around him wanted him to get, so.
He's not going to do it. Because he go up there and get exposed. It's not a good look. So he can't jeopardize the voting process of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Or if he gets in the backlash of it by his music being exposed, he's not going to do a versus. Unfortunately. So Busta Rhymes would smoke him. And I know y'all think I'm just an Eminem hater, and I'm not. I actually like some of his material, but I have to put his career in context. I like him in a way that I like Crooked Eye or something.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like...
you've been growing. We're going to take that.
I don't like him on an all-time great level. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to put it in context. I think he sold a lot of records. He's a superstar. But I think that... Get ready for this. I think on the MC list, and we talk about brackets, I've always had him on the B list. If the A list is Jigga, J, Big, and stuff like that, he's not that.
I've more or less had him on the B list too, but not about his skills, more about his catalog and more
Yeah,
about
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But I would too, Mike. See, here's the thing: he's been A-listed his entire career from inception.
No, 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 no. They did that over time. When the Slim Shady LP came out, nobody was out here putting him with the elites. DMX was here, and you were a novelty act over here with Limp Bizkit and touring with those guys, right? Nobody was sitting here talking about in the hip hop lexicon, we done found the next Rakim and he's Eminem. Nobody was doing that.
No, I
Nobody
think
was doing that. He
hold
didn't
on,
get into these conversations until he was washed. To be real,
hold on. I don't totally agree with that. Definitely wasn't DMX when he dropped out. Nobody was that. But what
mm-mm.
he was, no, Mike, this is what he was. He was rap's first viable white person who was a candidate to be an all-time great MC.
He was never
Yes,
a
he was.
candidate to be an all-time great MC.
Yes, he was,
He
Mike.
was
No,
not.
Mike.
He was a TRL darling. He was. He
No,
was
Mike.
not.
Before he was a TRL darling, he was unsigned hype in the source.
He wasn't even Busta
You
Rhymes,
keep skipping.
Redman,
No,
or
no, no. You
Method
skip.
Man.
No, no. You cannot skip over the underground roots and go to TRL. You do not get to skip unsigned
He
hype in the
did.
rap Olympics, Mike.
He did.
Mike. Unsigned hype and rap Olympics happened first. No. Those things were the types of things before TRL ever came into the picture that made people in the hip hop community think this is the most viable white boy we've ever seen because he is.
Those things were planted, Coop, to give him
That's
a
not playing, Mike.
foundation.
Unsigned
No,
hype and
listen,
rap
no.
Olympics is
Listen
not
to what I'm
playing.
saying. They were giving him a foundation because they learned from Vanilla Ice. They
No,
understood you
Mike, he
couldn't just
earned
throw
it.
somebody out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to work the circuit. We're going to get him in these rap Olympics. We're going
No,
to
no,
actually
no,
get an
no, no.
article in the source. And then once you get there, we're going to skip you up to TRL.
No, Mike, I'm
He
not
made
about to
no
let you do
noise in
that.
Detroit. Let's keep it a buck.
I'm not. No, I'm not about to let you do that to
He
him.
made no noise in Detroit. Let's
Mike,
keep it
he
real.
earned no on the underground circuit in this culture has an MC. This man has a white man in the mid '90s and late '90s earned his stripes as an MC.
In Detroit?
No, Mike, that's why I bring up the Rap Olympics. The Rap Olympics were down here. He beat Cannabis. He beat Cannabis in the Rap Olympics down here. That's rap shit. That's street shit.
I need
That's
to see some recordings.
credibility.
Anybody got some recordings of that stuff? Because a lot of this stuff is very folklorish.
I'm gonna go dig them up. They were on Napster. I used to have them because I couldn't believe when I heard that he beat Cannabis in the Rap Olympics that he actually won. I was like, he must have won because he white. Then I listened to it on Napster. I'm like, no, he beat him, and he shouldn't have lost the final because he beat Rhymefest too.
All right. All right. I want to hear some recordings.
That street cred. When a white boy shows up to the Rap Olympics in 1996, I believe, in Atlanta, Georgia, and makes it to the final, yeah, that's not normal. Has any white person like that ever had any sort of credibility as an MC in the hip hop community since? No.
Can he rap? Yes.
Oh God.
All time great stuff. Come on, man. When the Slim Shady LP came out, he came out with Hi, My Name Is, dressed as Marilyn Manson and stuff. Nobody was talking about his
What I'm trying
all-time
to
great.
express to you is that there was a hip hop element about him before he ever dropped an album that made him viable in this community. Unsigned Hype saw it, Dr. Dre saw it, the Rap Olympics saw it. Those are not accidents. Let's not stop acting like these are not viable.
Coop, I love you, bro. I love you, bro.
Oh, God.
And you know how history is, and you know how history gets skewed. I need some recordings. I don't want to just go off of hearsay with this guy because I've seen them change rules, skip things. I want to hear this with my own ears.
I heard that beat Cannabis.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
I'm gonna go try to dig it up.
And if anybody in the room has any access, there needs to be a documentary on this. I want to see a whole documentary of real footage of Eminem's whole battle rap career, so people don't have this lasting thought process of 8 Mile, which was a movie and scripted. And you know what?
I'm talking about
Some
A-Rhyme.
real legit battle rappers actually wrote on there as well.
I'm talking about
Craig G, shout out to him.
talking about the Rap Olympics, Mike, where he showed up and he smashed almost every black person there. But okay.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
No, Mike. I
wanna
found
hear it.
Blood Money 2 last night, which was like some special stuff for me. I found Blood Money 2. This is next. That's cool.
Let's find it. Let's find it.
I
I
found Blood
mean,
Money 2.
and if he smoked them like that, you know, I mean,
He
because I
didn't-
do know that Rhyme Fest beat him in the Rap Olympics.
He didn't smoke him, but he did beat him. And if you go listen to that rhyme that Rhyme Fest had in that last round versus the rhyme Eminem had, I don't agree.
All right. Well, yeah, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. And if we're talking about a versus situation with T.I. and M doesn't stand a chance against T.I. in my opinion.
No. He's going to lose. He's going to lose. We're talking about two separate things. I'm talking about his credibility. Now we're talking about how he's going to do in this versus. He's going to take this L.
We got another super chat, man. You guys are being great tonight, man. We got LB216. He says, put it on the screen real quick. He says, Coop, as you would say, no, he was never a candidate to be the greatest, not in our culture.
I said
Cut it
one
out.
of. I said one of, not the one of. Words matter. Like the word one of instead of the.
You know, Coop, let's you worked at the record shop. Let's take it back to 99.
I remember.
In 2000.
I remember.
When those records came out, he was dope. I remember having a conversation with people in my high school, like, who's better, Drag On or Eminem type stuff. DMX wasn't even in the conversation. Like, that's somewhere else. Jay-Z, Nas, that wasn't even in the conversation. That's something else.
No, not when he came out. No, totally agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So, like, I'm gonna tell you the record where that changed, and that's why it's still his best record to me. The Way I Am. The Way I Am was the record that, on an MC level, gave evidence to the unfair praise heaped upon him, where it's like, oh, well, no, he is capable of some of what they're talking about. Some of what they're talking about. That was the first real evidence of it. That's the second single off the second album. So some of the things that you're saying are valid and viable. And to the record store claim, Mike, I'm going to tell you something else that I remember. I can remember because the Slim Shady LP came out right around the time I was leaving that record store. I can remember how many copies we put in on the, like, we used to section it off based on what we thought was going to sell, you know? And
my bad to hold on, I don't mean to interrupt you, but LB216 says she's a woman. I apologize. I misgendered. Go ahead.
No. All apologies to her. We're sorry about that. We used to order based on what we really thought we were going to move. Mm-hmm. And so something like Nelly came to the store 4 hours late. Country Grammar, when it first came out, we ordered about 70 copies of it, which is a high number of copies to order for a first artist. When Jay's Volume 3 was coming in, we ordered 120 copies of that. Because that's about to go. Jay just got done doing 5 million records. Mike, the most striking thing to me was that when the Slim Shady LP came out, I can remember it was before I started working at the record store. When I walked in there, we had 5 copies of it sitting in there. Mike, the rollout for the Marshall Mathers LP, which is right before I left. I can remember the order form because I wasn't there when it dropped. Mike, they were ordering 180 copies.
Of course.
Of it to be bought into the store. And so some of what you're saying is true because I'm like 180 copies. I'm like, we only ordered 120 for Volume 3. And Volume 3 is right after Jay got done selling 5 mil. M did 3 mil on his first album.
The push was different. They knew it was coming.
And was getting 60 more copies than a guy who had sold 5 mil around the same time, who was more viable, identifiable, and considered to be the best at the time in the culture. Mm-hmm. So a lot of what you're saying is true. And I seen it behind the scenes with the numbers. I seen 5 copies of the Slim Shady LP when I walked in. You get 2 copies of Bad Meets Evil. We had 1 copy of Infinite in our special aisle. But when that shit was rolling out, it was like 108 copies on the dock. I was like, I'm putting 108 copies in this. I'm like, he's about to take up. I remember telling my boss, I was like, he's about to take up a section in the middle of our whole hip hop section.
Nah, that shit probably went fast. I bought a copy. Even me, I got caught up in it. I bought it. It is what it